Hi, everybody. I know money is changing hands right now. Is the old guy going to make it up there without a handrail or not? I know that for sure. And a couple of months ago, when I knew I was going to get an opportunity to speak here at Payments Canada in Toronto, I thought I'd cheaply ingratiate myself with, go Leafs, maybe wear a Matthews jersey. Heaven forbid I had to hang up my McDavid one about 3 months ago. Or maybe a Drake or Raptor reference, no such luck. How about just go Jets? What do you think of that? All right. So I get to come up here and share with you a story around ATB and an initiative we called Work Reimagined, and why we decided to get Googley, why we decided to go Google, and how that might contribute, or we believe strongly is contributing to building a more adaptive culture at ATB Financial. And hopefully the opportunity for you here is to think about your situation, your organization, how adaptive your culture is, how might it get more adaptive, and how you might work that way with your customers and each other. And hopefully the recipe that we're going to share here might have some reference to you. So many of you may know about ATB, but just to level set, let me just share a little bit of information with you. We're in our 80th year. We're held by the one shareholder, the province of Alberta, although we have an independent board and we act very much like any other public institution. We have 5,000 team members, $50 billion in assets, so we're quite small relative, obviously, to the national banks. We have about 800,000 retail customers, about 100,000 business customers. We had our best financial year ever. Our customer advocacy scores are the highest we've ever had. And I'm pleased to say that our engagement score is 91% on an ANU survey. That puts us in the top 1%. And I'm pleased to say that last year, the Great Place to Work organization picked ATB as the #2 company to work for in Canada. And I say all that, and we're scared to death. Because you know that as much as anybody in this whole ecosystem, that people need banking, but they don't necessarily need banks. And we have no right to consider that somehow we've got the ability to be in banking for the next 80 years. And our strong belief is that we must have the most adaptive culture that we can possibly build. And hence, that's the reason that I've got this peculiar title called Chief Evangelist. Our CEO, Dave Mode, is quite a visionary. And after I was in the role of being the Chief People Officer for a better part of 5 years, asked me to take on the Chief Evangelist role, which is essentially aimed at how we can continue to build a more adaptive culture at ATB. And I have the privilege on behalf of our board and our CEO and our executive team to lead that ongoing conversation throughout the company. And in keeping with that particular role, we have a 94-word story. It's our purpose. Purpose deeply matters, as you know. And I want to just note right now, we have thousands of ATBers that are making people's lives better right now. They're making their happiness greater, and that's our purpose. And we have 10 ATBs that guide the behavior in a highly inclusive organization and a diverse organization. It's our glue, and that is part of this role I have around making our purpose and our values live way beyond just being on the wall or on the inside of our annual report, to make it live every day. And in order to do that, we have to continue to work on having 5,000 people being highly adaptive, and hence Work Reimagined. So we decided that we would move to the entire G Suite platform. We've got a commitment to move our entire infrastructure into the public cloud within 18 months. This is a step in that direction. We felt it was vital if we were to have people think about reinventing and reimagining banking to make banking really work for people, that we had to change the way we thought about work. And while Microsoft is a wonderful organization, we have huge respect for them, we felt that we had become complacent in the way we thought about work being done, and subsequently that in order to change banking, we had to change the way each of us worked, and that began with our productivity and communication platform. So we felt that it was imperative for us, from the CEO, from our board, all the way through every part of the organization, to build a much more collaborative, networked organization to drive decision-making down, to become much more transparent, and to democratize innovation and problem solving. And then additionally, we knew that we had to partner with a company like Google so they might help us drive machine learning and AI and all the aspect of, as we move to the cloud, to have the benefit of working closely with them strategically. And indeed, we just had a number of our data scientists that had just spent 30 days working with, right in the middle of Google, around how we might become better at AI and driving machine learning through our whole company. Because if we're not smarter, more simple, and helpful with our customers when we reinvent banking, then we just might not be around to continue to participate. So here's the recipe and the approach that we used. The very first thing that we knew that we had to do is we had to explain to 5,000 people why the heck we were going Google. So I brought together, and we decided that we would make this a cultural initiative, not a technology initiative. Of course, the technology was vital, and it was very close. All the technology people on this initiative reported to me, but I had the privilege on behalf of 5,000 people around really leading what essentially was fundamentally a cultural drive. And the recipe we used was to go through 3 phases. We signed an agreement with Google on December 27th, 2016, and by July 10th of 2017, some 6 months later, we had transitioned the entire company over to the G Suite, and we're on our way, and we're now almost exclusively a G Suite platform. We still have some cases, particularly around Excel, where we use Office, but we're rapidly moving off of any dependency on the old platform at all. So we went through Ignite and Listen, Excite and Discover, and Adopt and Master, and I'll dig in to a little bit on each of them to give you a complete picture. There are lots of things we did around getting people involved in this first phase around Ignite and Excite, but I just want to bring your attention to one. We went out and asked for 50 people from the company to come and join us to really lead this whole conversation around why, and then to help people prepare how to get them to use the platform and then fully to adopt and master. And so I went out to the organization and asked for 50 people, with the understanding that if you raised your hand to audition and you were selected, your leader couldn't say no. You were selected, and for the next 3 to 6 months, you needed to give yourself in a seconded way to help drive this particular initiative. And it was an amazing experience. We posted on our intranet. We had 9,000 views. We had about 300 people apply. We only gave them 7 days. They had to provide a video where they auditioned. On that video, we selected a very inclusive group that represented our organization, and they became the tip of our spear as we led this whole initiative across the company. And I just want to challenge you out there right now to think about this whole idea of reaching out into the depths of your organization and to invite people to raise their hand and participate without using traditional methods of just having people nominate people, because oftentimes we go back to the same, well, we found out we had people that just flourished in this particular role, and so they helped lead the way. As part of this, we put them through a 30-day boot camp around what it would be to use this platform, but it was less around learning the platform, although we had to do that, to really learn the notion of what social transformation was about. And as part of that, we took them to Singularity University and to Google for a week, and so they could watch Googlers really how they worked and used the platform. So a whole few months of Ignite and Listen, and then we moved the organization to Excite and Discover, which was really about this whole notion of introducing the entire community to the G Suite platform without having people on two platforms. So we had to provide ways for people to just learn what the platform would be about without actually cutting it, because we couldn't have 5,000 people in two platforms. So when we wanted to cut over, we cut over. But we had a number of early adopters. But what we did do is we had the whole organization participate. So now they had understood why we're doing this, why it was important strategically, and now we were giving them a full opportunity to participate in what might it look like, how might we, and how might their work change. So we did all kinds of things like trade shows. We took our board of directors, who are very skeptical, as you might imagine. They don't particularly like enterprise-wide initiatives. They haven't exactly had a great experience with them. And we took them through, the G-Evangelists took them through a trade show about what it would look like to use this platform. We had G-Evangelists on drive throughout the province, going to our branches, giving people hands-on experiences. We put a platform in place so people could learn the platform and essentially test out. We called those people G-Whizzes. They were then identified and were there to help the rest of the community. They were visibly identified as people who knew the G Suite, and so they could be there to help coach. And we got a couple hundred G guides to get us ready to cut over day. And one of the finest moments that I have in my professional life was on July the 10th, and I just want to give you this picture. We have Dave Moat, our CEO, sitting on the corner of a large room we have that is essentially our kind of execution room. We've got my whole team sitting in a circle, and we are cutting over. So it was a remarkable thing to just to be ready ready the organization to cut over. 2 weeks before, we had cut over all of our mobile devices through getting them security-wise ready to go and be able to take this fully cloud-based platform. But we were cutting off all Microsoft Mail and Calendar on July 10th, and the most wonderful thing happened: nothing. It was a wonderful moment of just tremendous support, and 5,000 team members completely cut over and began working exclusively on all Mail and Calendar. And then we, from there, went into the phase which is we're still undergoing, which we call Adopt and Master. And Adopt It, now the hard work was the beginning of the hard work around both adopting more of the G Suite and at the same time consciously moving off of Microsoft. And we did so many things to help with that. We found out it was like doing any kind of this kind of work. We found out we had 14,000 public folders that we had to work through because we had, and this is part of the learning, we had become complacent and we began to use Word and Excel inappropriately to help drive processes, and we got sloppy and lazy. And this helped us fundamentally change our thinking, because we challenged every single person around how might you work differently, and then how might you use the G Suite to help you do that. So I'm not going to go through all the results, but I can tell you fundamentally that we have changed the way we work at ATB. Collaboration is now happening in a much more networked fashion. We've got people who are working collectively in all kinds of ways in using slides and sheets and docs and Drive. We are so much more visibly present using Meets and Hangouts and Hangouts on Air. We've looked at almost every form that we have in the company. We're reimagining the way work process is happening everywhere. But most importantly, we have fundamentally changed the way people are working, innovating, and working out together. It has been a remarkable experience for us. It's not perfect, as you might imagine. We still have places, particularly with our experts community, where we have to help them through getting through using Sheets and Data Studio, et cetera. But we wanted to fundamentally change the way people collaborated and communicated. We wanted to make a major step towards moving into the public cloud completely. We're well on our way. We've advanced our strategic relationship with Google, and most importantly, we've made a statement that you have to have a growth and disruptive mindset to work at ATB. 5,000, we're going to help you move, but you can't sit still. We're rapidly building an AQ, our adaptive quotient, and this has been a fundamental part of our journey. And I hope that it might inspire you to think about how you might drive a more adaptive and growth and disruptive mindset in your organization. Thank you very much.